What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty here on NCAA 06, greatest NCAA game of all time, in my personal opinion. And we are out here, man, getting ready to go into the first round of the FCS playoffs, getting it down to 16 teams by the end of this episode, man. So it should be a good one. 8 games on tap in total. And if you guys are excited for it as well, make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. As we jump into our first matchup here of the first round of the FCS playoffs, we got number 17 Tulane taking on the number 16 seeded Idaho Vandals, and the Vandals are going to get off to a very hot start here as Jared Crowell is able to pick off Jack Irvin, who was on the cover of F1 Sports Magazine prior to the start of year number 1. And Idaho with phenomenal field position to start things off. They're in the red zone already and going to capitalize off of the turnover as the Vandals are going to strike first here and take a 7-0 lead. Beautiful job with the play action. But that won't be the only time that the Vandals get into the red zone. Very effective down in this part of the field. And they're looking to continue to build off of that as they get yet another touchdown on the board. That's touchdown number 2 through the air already. And Tulane already caught on the back foot, down 14-0 already, and we haven't gone through the first quarter yet as they try to run it in the third time around, and it's yet another score for the Vandals. 21-0. And this team, who is more known for passing the football, they can also rush it too. So Jack Irvin and company definitely in some big trouble here early, down 3 possessions, and that's not going to help the cause either, as Tyrell Blunt is also able to get an interception of his own. So that is already the second turnover of the day for this Vandal defense. Even though it doesn't turn into a touchdown, it is still a 27-0 game here as, oh my goodness, sometimes everything goes right for you and sometimes everything goes wrong. And you want to talk about worst time possible for things to go absolutely wrong for you? We're seeing it right in front of our eyes right now. Tulane, who was projected by F1 Sports to win the national championship, they're here in the first round. They did not get that first round bye, obviously. Otherwise, you won't be seeing them in this episode. And now, with that touchdown putting Idaho up 34-0 right now, oh no. They're in serious danger of being eliminated out of the FCS playoffs. We'll see if Jack Irvin can at least get his guys on the board before the end of the first half, and we will at least see that. We will see an end zone score for the Green Wave there, as that will at least take them into halftime, at least with a tad bit of momentum to feel a little bit better about yourselves. But you got to find a way to stop this defense at the end, or this offense at the end of the day, allowing 34 points in the first half. That isn't going to help, and it looks like they haven't learned anything from the halftime locker room adjustments. You cannot give this quarterback too much time in the pocket, otherwise it's going to be barbecue chicken. He's more than capable of going off on any defense on any given time. And now 41-7 game here. This could possibly really make things extremely worse for Tulane, but thankfully Adam Jackson is going to get a late interception here late into the third quarter. Now, nice little job there to actually didn't even catch that off the tip, it seemed like. At least I didn't think he caught off the tip. I don't know. But Tulane could not do anything off the turnover, though. So it is still 41-7. And make it 48-7. It's been a blowout here. Very first game of the FCS playoffs. as Tulane just looks like they were not prepared for this game whatsoever. And that does end up being the final score. So Idaho moves on to take on number 1 San Diego State. So unfortunately, I did forget to hit record for this game, so that's a big oops on my part, but it was a competitive game as Brown really showed itself quite well representing the Ivy League. Rice does end up coming out on top 22-20, but we almost saw an upset in the process here. Rice really had to rally with a touchdown, and then actually 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion, and that 2-point conversion does end up being the ultimate difference, as Rice will go ahead and move on to the next round. They will take on Montana in the round of 16. So we continue to march to the FCS National Championship game, as we now have the 20th seeded Kent State Golden Flashes taking on the number 13 seeded North Dakota State Bison. Now, North Dakota State, some of y'all either in the comments or in the YouTube premiere felt that North Dakota State got robbed, felt like they should have been a top 8 team. They should have gotten a first round bye, and I don't blame you guys. I really don't. 11-1 record, that would usually get the job done, but you know how creative teams are treated, in this game, man. They usually get treated right to the bottom, and you gotta work so much harder to get yourselves to the top. So the fact that they're even here in the FCS playoffs, definitely a feel-good story, but now they gotta prove themselves. All this talk about North Dakota State, they should have been this, they should have been that, they gotta prove it on the field. And Kent State, even though they are the road team, they are the lower seed, this is still a talented football team. You cannot take Kent State lightly, as Kent State nearly scores on their very first drive of the game. Chris Rogers, nice job on the crossing route, almost found his way into the end zone, and that's key, because North Dakota State, they are the number 1 defense in college football in terms of yards allowed per game, but to be able to get into the end zone here early in the game as well and get yourself a touchdown, that's a very good sign. And Kent State, they're no slouches either. They also employ a top 10 defense of their own, as we have a muffed punt situation as well a couple of drives later, and that is going to set up Kent State in a goal line situation. How about that for just absolutely incredible luck right now? And the Golden Flashes, they are going to go ahead and take advantage here as well. So Kent State with a 14-0 lead, as we now see if North Dakota State can respond. Late in the first quarter, going to try to run a speed option to the left, but Brian Alexander, he fumbles the football, and now the big guy is scooting. Oh, I would have absolutely lost it if the big guy scooted his way into the end zone. Nice job keeping Brian Alexander from going down right away and forcing a fumble that will give the Golden Flashes some more points on the board, but maybe this is the play that will spark the Bison up a little bit. Finally seeing a good play here from the defense that will set up North Dakota State in the red zone, so hopefully that'll get them back into this game, but because it's been a little bit of a lethargic effort for the Bison so far, even though they're the higher seed. Definitely not proven that they deserve that top 8 seed, that's for sure. We'll see if Alexander can change that, trying to run the option, and he fumbles again. This team, what is this team doing? That's the 3rd turnover of the game already for the Bison, and we're not even to halftime yet. It's 17-0, and now we got a serious upset alert on our hands, as we are now looking at a 24-point lead for the Golden Flashes. We might be seeing our very first huge upset of the day. Watch out now, as now Alexander trying to make a play happen, but he gets absolutely torn up. Offensive line cannot protect him long enough for him to make a play, and that's going to force a 4th down. The Bison once again have to go ahead and go 3 and out, as they will punt this football away. It looks like it's in the air for quite a while, but the special team's a little bit questionable though, as he's at the 30, the 20. He's going to be able to escape. He wins the foot race, and it's yet another touchdown. It's a 30-plus point lead here. It is 34-3 right now. Just absolutely disgusting stuff. A disgusting effort, and just the worst time possible to have this kind of effort this late in the season. It's simply not excusable, considering North Dakota State, they were, at least on paper, the most talented team. And now they might be eliminated in the first round? Well, I don't know, man. Just not good. There has to be some point shaving going on in the background. I have nothing to do with this. I just simulate the games and just call it how it is. But yeah, man, for those of y'all that picked North Dakota State, saying that, oh, they're a sleeper to win the national championship, you might want to keep yourself asleep, man. I'm gonna just be honest with you. It's not looking good for you guys that picked North Dakota State in the bracket challenge. But 34-6, they do notch another field goal, but they're also going to notch yet another turnover. That's the 5th fumble of the day for this Bison offense, and it's just been rough. And Kent State, they're going to shock the world, baby. They are going to upset North Dakota State, and they are going to move on to the second round, and they actually will have a rematch in the next episode. It'll be a return to battle of the wagon wheel. They will take on the number 4 ranked Akron Zips. So here's hoping that this next game here is a little bit more competitive. Two teams that, you know, very talented for sure. We got the 21st seeded SMU Mustangs taking on the champions of the ACC conference, the Delaware Blue Hens, part of 3 teams that did end up making it into the FCS playoffs. Granted, ACC did beat itself up quite a bit, but they are out here and they are trying to thrive for sure. As we will take a look at this running game, Jamal Will is coming in with over 1,200 yards of total offense on the ground so far. As we'll get things underway, here is Craig Davis looking to throw over the middle, looking for his star tight end, who does make the catch and picks up a gain of 7, but he forgets about one thing. He forgot about the football. So that's tough. They were in a position that they looked like that catch at the very least would have put him into field goal range, but nothing comes out of it. And so there is still no score midway through the third quarter, as Willis, he's going to run it up the middle, but there's a fumble, and it's yet another turnover. There is an injury on the field. It looks like it's one of the defensive linemen in Marcus Sims, but 2 turnovers early. That's not a winning formula to win, especially in the FCS playoffs. We're in playoff action now. These games matter more, and the atmosphere simply built different. I mean, you could see more fans definitely in the stands than what we would see for your average regular season game, and SMU will capitalize. They will take a 7-0 lead. It's now Craig Davis. He's going to get hit as he's thrown, but he's going to find his tight end once again, who was actually double covered here, but he still comes down with it though. Phenomenal coverage. Sometimes you just, no matter what kind of defense you play, you cannot beat the perfect throw. As now Craig Davis under center. He's going to drop back the pass once again. Has some extra protection, and he's going to launch this thing, and it will be down inside the 5-yard line. Recognizing the one-on-one matchup on the outside and taking advantage, as now Craig Davis now has over 3,500 passing yards on the season. It's certainly been an excellent year for him so far. And how about adding on to that with another touchdown of his own, and the Blue Hens strike right back. And it's now all knotted up at 7 apiece. As now we jump into midway through the second quarter here, as we'll see the tailback get the handoff. Nice spin move, breaks some tackles and trucks somebody into the next dimension. And how about an emphatic run by 23? Spins away from one, trucks over a second defender, and the rest becomes a foot race, and there was nobody around that man. And SMU pulls ahead once more, and things go from bad to worse for the Delaware squad as we get a pick 6 on the following drive. If this game turns into a blowout, look at this play right here. Craig Davis, he gets his, he's thrown. So it wasn't like just throws it right into the ground. Oh no, it was up in the air, and that is a dangerous ball for all quarterbacks, no matter what level it is. And now 21-10 here, as Blue Hens are just trying to keep themselves in this game by any means necessary. This could help them as we get a fumble on the punt return by Kevin Torrey, as he cannot keep his hands on the football. So Delaware now all of a sudden in a position to get right back into this game. And Craig Davis looking to do just that. Sets up the screen, and the screen is run to perfection. Touchdown Delaware. And it's back to a one-possession game, down by 4. Can their defense get some stops? So looking downfield, he's got a man, and 29 gets caught flat-footed. And that's not the touchdown that you needed. 72-yard score. It looks like he was just caught looking at the eyes of the quarterback just a little bit too long now. And now Dante Rogers looking to put the nail in the coffin, it seems like, as he looks over in the middle of the field. He finds his star receiver again, and it's the 3rd touchdown for Dante Rogers. Simply built different, as it makes it 35-17, and the offense can't recover. So now we're going to see Dante Robertson potentially maybe run this clock a little bit, or we're just going to see just casually yet another huge passing touchdown downfield. That's a 46-yard scamper this time around down the left-hand side, and that is what happens when you cannot get enough pressure on the quarterback. As ever since Delaware did pull within one possession, we've seen 21 unanswered points so far. How about we make it 28 unanswered points for the Mustangs? And with 3:15 left to play in this ball game, ladies and gentlemen, we might have seen the fat lady sing, as SMU will get one more touchdown in the garbage time, but it doesn't change the fact that the Mustangs, the 21st seed in this FCS playoff tournament, they will be moving on to the second round to take on the 5th seeded UNLV Rebels. So up next, we got 2 real FCS teams this time around. The first time we've seen that so far in this episode, is we have the 18th ranked McNeese State Cowboys and the 15th ranked James Madison Dukes, who are actually just coming off of a loss against Delaware back in the ACC Conference Championship, back in that Conference Championship episode. McNeese State, on the other hand, they did not get the opportunity to play in a Conference Championship game, as they could not take care of business against Georgia Southern during the regular season. But despite that, they still get up in here as an at-large team, and they have the right to go and contest themselves against Kenny Raymer here, who is actually, I believe, tied for first place. But look at James Madison trying to do. They just tried to fake a punt there on 4th down, the first drive of the game, mind you, and they don't get it. So Stacy, he and his boys, they are going to have beautiful field position to start this game, and you gotta believe that Stacy's mom loves that throw. She's got it going on, and so does this quarterback early. It's now 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. Stacy looking to his right. He's gonna chalk this thing into the end zone. Touchdown Cowboys. At McNeese State, the underdog, striking first in this one. An early 7-0 lead for the boys from the SEC. We'll see if Kenny Raymer can respond in kind. As the next possession, Raymer Gonna drop back to pass. He's gonna look over the middle. He's got a man, and that boy might be going like a girl in a country song. Touchdown, James Madison. And that is now the 43rd passing touchdown of the season. That is number 1 in this FCS Dynasty universe. So we might be in for a little bit of a track meet potentially. Hope you guys brought the cleats. I'm sure Maurice Gray did, as we will also see a special teams touchdown by Maurice Gray, one of the most electric return men in all of college football. And the Dukes will take a 14-7 lead here. Could have been a little bit more than just 14-7, except we will actually see Kenny Raymer get intercepted by Richard Wallace. And it will be the second interception thrown second interception caught by Richard Wallace. That is Raymer's 6th interception thrown on the season. But McNeese State, they cannot capitalize though, so it does remain a one-possession game in favor of the Dukes. And when Maurice Gray gets the ball, watch out, because mama, there goes that man. Touchdown, Dukes. And an 88-yard passing touchdown this time around. It wasn't even a huge bomb. We will see Maurice Gray get tacked on with an unsportsmanlike penalty because he did celebrate just a little bit too much. But that will be applied on the kickoff, and it didn't have any effect on the score. It's not like an unsportsmanlike is going to stop you from or prevent somebody from making a tackle on a touchdown, right? Like that's just not a thing. But Stacy Respers desperately needs to get something going on the offensive end, because right now, James Madison, they got their offense going. And if they don't see some results on this end of the field, we might see some problems. As 4th and 11 here, they're going to go for it here in no man's land. Stacy dropping back, facing pressure, and gets absolutely lit up like a Christmas tree. As that is Keontae Lane. Second sack not only of the game, but of the drive, as 94 just clotheslines that man. That probably would have been a targeting penalty if this game was made today. But in 2005, people actually did this thing called allowing the big hit. The refs were definitely a little bit, I guess not as soft, I guess is kind of what the word that I'm looking for. But that being said, James Madison continuing to pull away as they get an interception on Stacy Respris on the next drive. And already with a 17-point lead, they're in a position to pull away even further now. We'll see what Kenny Raymer and company can do. As now, play action, looking over the left-hand side, looking for Maurice Gray again. But this time, Adrian Simmons was prepared for it. This is a guy who, to his own right, is a very dangerous corner. Dude is averaging almost half an interception a game. And given the number of games that this man has played, we're talking about 6 to 7 interceptions. He's been on a whole different level, but he can't help the offense score points. That's the ultimate problem right now. And Stacy Respris just ended up throwing his second interception of the day. Granted, they are deep in James Madison territory, as now trying to throw it to Maurice Gray once again, but it ends up being intercepted once again. Quarterbacks playing a little bit sloppier here in the second quarter. It puts the Cowboys in borderline field goal range, except they turn the football over again. I didn't realize we were in a Drake song because we seen interceptions thrown back to back to back, and I believe to back. So 4 consecutive plays I think we saw were interceptions. Absolutely insane right now. Although James Madison turned that last pick into a field goal to kind of break the cycle a little bit. As we now jump midway through the third quarter, Cowboys have to punt this football away, and when will they learn not to punt the football to Maurice Gray, because he is a dangerous man and he's going to have himself yet another touchdown. over 200 yards of total offense, and that is also his third score of the day. He is single-handedly outscoring the Cowboys right now. And just Stacy is just simply off his game right now. That's the 4th interception that this guy has thrown right now. And very close to getting the backups pulled in. At least, according to the philosophy of Coach Montano. As Raymer looking downfield, he's going to throw it over the middle of the field, but that's it, gets intercepted as well. I'm assuming that James Madison is going to move on, assuming that the score holds up. But if they want to advance deep into this tournament, make a legitimate run at the national championship, they got to do much better than that four turnovers in a game. That is not going to be winning football against a lot of teams, although they force a lot of turnovers as well, as we see a big run downfield when the passing game is not 100% effective. You got to switch things up a little bit, change up the philosophy, and we saw with that run able to find his way to the outside, and it becomes a foot race, and a foot race that this tailback wins. James Madison will go ahead. They will win this game convincingly, 41-7, and play against Temple in the next round. Speaking of the ACC conference, though, we now have New Hampshire playing some host to the champions of the Big Ten Conference and the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. Now, the Big Ten Conference, it was a crap show. Really, we saw up to 8 teams either tied for first place or one game behind, in those late stages of the season, week 12, week 13. A lot of teams could have gotten that AP qualifier, and it was Tennessee Tech that came out on top. So now we'll see them go to work, and honestly, probably a little bit better than what that 23 seed shows. So New Hampshire, they might have a little bit of test on their hands as Montoya. He's going to launch this thing out to his receiver, William Patterson. And William Patterson, let me remind you guys once again, he is a certified bad man. And we certainly saw that right there. Early touchdown for the Wildcats, as they will take an early 7-0 lead here. As we will see the Wildcats actually go to work once again. Tennessee Tech could not score on their next possession, but this might help them get on the scoreboard as Devin Babanooks gets his first sack of the day. Not only that, but also his first forced fumble of the day, as Montoya is going to turn this football over. And now we see Donovan Hampton try to tie this game up for the Golden Eagles, firing into the end zone and finds his star wideout touchdown. Tennessee Tech. And it's all knotted up at 7 apiece now. We'll see how Carlos Montoya can respond after he fumbles the football on the previous possession. He does find his tight end, and his tight end, found a soft spot in the zone there and able to pick up a good chunk of yards there because of it. As now 2nd and 15 from the 33. Montoya, all the time in the world. I could have made myself a sandwich if I really wanted to do that. And now we are looking at a quarterback in the early stages of this game who already has over 100 yards passing on the day so far, and looking to build off of that as he throws again on 1st and 10, but this time building in a negative way, as we see the second turnover for the Golden Eagles, who are seeking the pole, the biggest upset of this tournament so far. These 20+ seeds, don't mess with them 20+ seeds. They're 2-2, as we've seen in this tournament. They can certainly play, as we will see the Golden Eagles potentially take the lead here as Donovan Hampton throws a beautiful strike on the outside, and they are very efficient in the red zone, 82% on the year. We'll see if they can bump those numbers up as they hand it off to the fullback, and the fullback is going to be rumbling and stumbling his way to the first lead of the day for the Golden Eagles. Somewhere out there, not the expert, is smiling, given that fullback find in the end zone. And it's a 7-point lead for the 23 seed. But we know why New Hampshire is here in this playoffs. This team, and particularly this offense, is extremely talented. They will not be held down and contained forever. It's just a matter of time till that groove is found. Montoya looking with under 2 minutes left to play. He shakes off one defender, moves to the pocket, sees someone downfield, and it's a touchdown. Oh my goodness. Carlos Montoya making one man miss and then moving to his left. Beautiful pocket presence. Never gives up on the play. He always keeps his eyes downfield at all times. And that is going to help the Wildcats take the lead as we jump into the second half here. But wait a minute, now we see another turnover. That's a gunslinger mentality that Carlos Montoya has. Sometimes he's going to make a really excellent play like we saw at the end of the first half. And other times, we'll see boneheaded decisions like that. Double coverage. The receiver did not even have the inside leverage. And very lucky that Tennessee Tech only came away with a field goal there. But New Hampshire, they might take the lead down the sideline. And it's a touchdown for New Hampshire. Took them a little bit, but they have the lead directly right back. And it's another huge touchdown here. I believe the third touchdown of the day for Carlos Montoya, as his team now holds a 7-point lead. What's this dominant Hampton have in store? Rolling to his right. He's going to launch this thing downfield. He's got a man. He's finding a receiver. And his receiver is going to dive into the end zone. Touchdown, Golden Eagles. As Donovan Hampton, he pulled up Patrick Mahomes like, screw it. Tyreek Hill goes down there. He did exactly that, and it works out for him. Certainly a bold strategy for Cotton. As it's now back to being all knotted up. We have an exciting game. Best game of this episode, of course. But it won't be tied for long as we see William Patterson. Mama, there goes that man as he's going to dance his way into the end zone. Another touchdown. Back and forth like a ping pong match. As we see maybe the Golden Eagles slipping away a little bit as Donovan Hampton gonna throw that interception. This New Hampshire squad was on upset alert, but they're looking to finish this game strong. As that, not only do they force the turnover, but they get the pick 6 there as well, and that's huge. Now it's a 2-possession game, and forcing them to punt on the very next possession. Now we need a miracle, and that might be the one, as we see William Patterson, who has 6 returns for touchdowns. He fumbles the ball. He puts it on the ground. So a little glimmer of hope here, as now Donovan Hampton looking downfield, throwing it to the right hand side. He's got a receiver, and now it's turning into a foot race. The 20, the 15, and he gets dropped at the 13-yard line as Julius Robertson now has well over 100 yards on the day, doing it off of just 6 catches as well. Definitely a big-time threat. We'll see if they go to him again here as Donovan Hampton, of course, passing the football again. Blitz being sent his way, which means one-on-one coverage. And that's when he goes to the big-time receiver, who makes a huge play for his quarterback, as Donovan Hampton was going to get hit as he threw this football, but way to hang tough. And New Hampshire, they can't run out the clock here. They can't run it out completely, so all of a sudden, Tennessee Tech, they got a chance to take the lead here. Less than a minute to play. Hampton, less than a minute to go, looks downfield. He wants the silver bullet, and he gets it. Julius Robinson again. Huge play. He only has less than 500 yards on the year, but a career day for him, and a great day for Donovan Hampton as well. They need more of that. 1st and 10. Hampton looking down the middle of the field. This is to the end zone, and he gets it. It's a touchdown. And now Golden Eagles on top. They are going to go for the 2-point conversion. They are successful with it. So now, all of a sudden, if New Hampshire doesn't get this field goal, their season is over. Otherwise, overtime being forced. Yes, sir. We will see an overtime. And we played 4 quarters of absolutely exciting and electric football for sure. All knotted up at 41 apiece. And we now go into overtime where we see Tennessee Tech get a field goal. So all that needs to happen is a touchdown and they will win the game. Montoya looking towards William Patterson's directed, but it's intercepted. And just like that, one play is going to end the season for the Wildcats. Just a few yards away from moving on to the second round of the FCS playoffs. But instead, we get the biggest upset yet in this playoffs episode. The Golden Eagles, second lowest seed in the playoffs, only to Brown, who's the Ivy League champions. They will be the ones going to the second round, and they will get the opportunity to play against Utah State, who did come into this tournament as the 7th seed. So the Cinderella ride might potentially just be getting started. So we'll see if any of the remaining games in this episode live up to what we just witnessed as we now move on to the next game in the first round of this FCS playoff tournament, as we now jump into the 19th-seeded New Mexico State Aggies taking on the number 14 ranked Eastern Michigan Eagles. Now, both teams, kind of faded a little bit down the stretch. They both have very good records. New Mexico State already with double-digit wins, coming in 10-2 on the year. But Eastern Michigan, they got Brian Brown, who is currently on the Heisman finalist list that will be announced at the conclusion of this season. We'll see that, all the awards and stuff in the offseason episode. But we'll see Eastern Michigan's offense go to work all of a sudden as they get an interception off another fellow Heisman finalist, Kerry Williams, and maybe having a little bit of trouble there in the cold weather as he actually underfroze that football. So it gives the Eagles a chance to take the lead early in a scrum, and definitely a good heap of traffic there in the back of the end zone. But despite that, we will see an early lead for the 14-seeded Eagles, as we'll see if they can build off of it, as Brown is actually going to stop and block. He's going to find another impact player on this Eastern Michigan squad, and seems like he's wide butt naked open. He's going to get himself a touchdown as well. So that will make it a 14-0 game, as DB just could not get his hands up soon enough. And now it looks like the Eagles pulling away here early, 17-3 in favor of the higher seeded squad, as New Mexico State cannot do anything on their next possession. So they got to punt this thing away, and we might have a little bit of Houdini on the field, as that man was in the middle of traffic, and yet despite that, he's going to get himself into the end zone. Touchdown, Eagles. Wow, absolutely phenomenal Houdini stuff right there. 24-3 in favor of Eastern Michigan. How about we make it 31-3? And we're not even into halftime yet. That's the craziest part in all of this. Just really showing a different level of focus right now, and it's not going to stop. Eagles doing fantastic on third down, 3 for 5 on the day, and we're going to build off of it. But there's a fumble, and it's going to be a scrum for it, and New Mexico State, they are actually going to recover it, and that is exactly what they need, because let me tell you, it has been hot garbage for the Aggie squad, man. And so they'll need some help. Backup quarterback in the game, as Kerry Williams did end up getting a little bit shaken up. So this is actually Jason Jackson that's actually quarterbacking for the Aggies. He is the backup, like I said, and doing pretty solid. Able to get a touchdown there to cut it down to 24 points. But Following possession, though, after an Eastern Michigan free and out, New Mexico State cannot capitalize, and, well, let's just say this score is going to end up being a lot to a little in this ball game, man. As Eastern Michigan takes care of its business, they will move on to the second round of the FCS playoffs. Next time out, they'll play against number 3 Eastern Carolina. So that will now take us into the final game of the first round of the FCS playoffs. We've seen 7 teams punch their ticket into the second round, and we have one more to decide. The number 23 ranked Southern Jaguars, who come in as the automatic qualifier for the Big 12 Conference, they will be taking on another fellow AQ team in Georgia Southern. And I'm really excited about really both these teams. Mike Hill and Ikeda Woods, they do it in different ways, but they are both extremely talented football players. I'm really excited about this matchup. Hopefully it's a kind of close game, a somewhat competitive game. I will go ahead and check out Ikeda Woods first, who's using that elite speed that he has at the quarterback position, and there's simply no answer for him. Able to rock that thing into the end zone, and it's an early 7-0 lead, which means Mike Hill, he's got to respond as well. Gets a great throw downfield himself, and I believe that's not Kevin O'Neal, but it is still a nice catch. But they stall out at around the 30-yard line, so they go for it on 4th down. Hill looking downfield, and he had his man, but he drops the football, though. Oh, that is so unfortunate. That ball was where it needed to be, but unfortunately a drop is going to give the football back to Georgia Southern, and they got a field goal out of it. So now a 10-0 game as Hill looking to drop back once again. This time, this will not be dropped this time around. And while Georgia Southern doing a really good job getting pressure on Mike Hill early, already 8 hurries on this guy. He hasn't been sacked yet, and he's been able to keep his composure for the most part. We'll see if that can continue, as it looks like Mike Hill will throw again on 1st and 10, looking over the middle, but this time ends up getting intercepted, as that was just a great job by the linebacker sticking with it. He kind of bat the ball in the air to himself, and then off that second attempt to catch the football, he's able to corral it in this time around. Just a really great play to kind of make sure the drive stalls out. But despite that, Georgia Southern can't do anything, and Kevin O'Neal finally gets his hands on the football, and now it's trouble as mama, there goes that man. Touchdown, Jaguars. And they moved the ball downfield as fast as a Jaguar in the wild, and they will cut this thing down to just a few points. As now, we'll see what Ikeda Woods can do here in the last 2 minutes. Facing some pressure. He's not very tall, 5'6", but he still finds his receiver despite all the pressure in his face. That's a difficult throw to make, even if you're a taller quarterback, 6'4", 6'5", your prototypical NFL quarterback. Ikeda Woods does not have that prototypical size. He's the smallest player on the field. He certainly doesn't play like it, though, as it will help them take a 10-point lead, trying to build off of that, and it's another completion, this time to the tailback, George Cottrell, and it will be a touchdown for the Eagles. That time a few yards short of that sweet, perfect little spot, but still 66 yards is a good place to be, and it's a 24-7 lead going into halftime. And the beautiful thing about it, Georgia Southern actually gets the football to start the second half. So we'll see what they can do with this first drive of the third quarter, as Ikeda Woods, he's extremely athletic, as he is going to dance his way to go into the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. And one thing that I wish would be in the game, like we see like some of the modern dances, that we see in, today's NFL, what modern college athletes are doing. I'm trying to see that in this EA college football game, low key. Like, I'm trying to see the giddy when someone scores a touchdown like that. Like, and even like a Mac Jones level giddy, like at the Pro Bowl. Like, if y'all know, you know, right? But 31-7, Georgia Southern looks like they can definitely pull away at any moment, as that's a nice throw out to the flats. Just not making a phenomenal play. Sometimes you just gotta make, the simple play, and that was a simple play right there. That now makes it 38-7 here, and now getting a little bit trickier. They do a little bit of a reverse, and that reverse looked really good as Daryl Turner. I thought that was going to be a triple option to the right, but they done bamboozled me there, that's for sure, man. And now another red zone opportunity for Georgia Southern, as they're already up by 31 points so far, as we're going to see Ikeda get it out to his tailback. He's already having a pretty good run on this drive, and after the execution of the reverse, you got to reward that running back. That's just simply a nice thing to do, and we certainly see that right there, as Georgia Southern is going to notch yet another score on the board, as Mike Hill just trying desperately to get something going for his team. But today it was just not his day today. Georgia Southern, they definitely proved that they are indeed the better football team, as they will end up winning 55-14 in this one, and that will give them a matchup against Northern Texas in the second round. So guys, that will go ahead and officially round up round number 1 here of the FCS playoffs, and we got it down to 16 teams. Next episode, we will have the second round of FCS playoff action, where we'll narrow it down to the 8 teams that will compete, or at least continue to compete, for the FCS National Championship here in season number 1. Starting with Idaho playing against San Diego State, followed by Rice taking on Montana. After that, we'll have Kent State taking on Akron in the rematch of the Battle of the Wagon Wheel, taking place in the second round. Following that will be a game against SMU taking on UNLV, who comes in as the number 5 seed. Following that matchup, we'll have James Madison taking on Temple, Tennessee Tech taking on Utah State, Eastern Michigan taking on Eastern Carolina, and to round out the round 2 action that you will see in the next episode, we will have Georgia Southern taking on North Texas. And it's going to be a really fun one. So guys, if you have been enjoying this series, do me a huge favor. Smack that like button for me. Hit that subscribe button if you have to be brand new and you're loving what you're seeing on screen. Hit that noti bell, of course. And with that, this is John J. Gaming on the mic, signing off until next time. I'm hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.